Hey, I just wanted to welcome all of you today and say thank you. Anyone that's here and doesn't know who I am, I'm Alderman Jeff Key. I've been coming here for the last 10 years and helping out. Jeff Prestanario was one of the people that put this whole thing together years ago, and when he retired from being on the city council, he asked me to kind of represent the council in doing this, and it's really been a pleasure for me to do that. We want to say thank you to a couple people, Denise Hiker and Vince Petrosius, am I saying that right? They're co-chair of the Adopt a Pet program, which is what this is. Yeah, you can give them a, you can give them a hand. And I just want to say thank you. I do want to introduce a couple people. First of all, in the red sweater over here is our newest city council member, Heather Begley. So she represents the 3rd Ward. We're standing right now. And then, you know what, I want to just mention something, and there's no way of getting them on camera, but our cameraman, Carl over there, who's been helping us out for a long time with Channel 4, celebrated his 60th wedding anniversary a couple of days ago. And so, but I you know, it's been a rough year and a half. With the pandemic. It's affected the city, it's affected all of our families, it's affected the economy. We've all lost people to COVID and stuff, but you know, something we want to do today for this workday is we want to dedicate our workday to Ed Dombrowski. And I know that you all join me in that we have heavy hearts in that he's not here. We're happy to have Mary with us, Mary Dombrowski. And I just wanted to show you something I brought with me today. This is a picture from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Ed with the smile on his face. But when I was looking for this picture, I ran across this one. Look at that pretty couple. Mary and Ed. That was on his Facebook. That was on his Facebook page. So, but so we want to dedicate today to Ed, and you know, our hearts are still broken that he's not with us. He was the backbone of this whole program, and so I want to thank Mary for being here. But let me just say a couple words here. And tell me if this doesn't describe Ed. Kind, humble, dedicated, persevering, never a complaint or unkind word, compassionate, genuine, sweet, helpful, patient, honest, sincere, soft-spoken, and he had a heart for helping others. And you know, Ed wasn't the most the guy in the best health, and not once did you ever hear a complaint out of his mouth. You know, I ran across a quote because Ed's heart was to help others. It says, "It's not that volunteers have time to serve others; it's that they have a heart to serve others." And I think every one of us here, especially if we've been here more than just today, we've learned about having a heart for serving others from Ed. And the amount of volunteerism that's done in this city is unbelievable. And from all the people that serve on the committees and just, you know, the great things that we do during the year, like the car show, and when we used to do the half marathon, and so much. It's done by volunteers. And so thank you for your commitment to Palos Heights. And I don't normally do this, but I feel compelled to say a prayer for Ed this morning. So I'm gonna pray. Father, thank you for the gift of today. You're so good to us. You've blessed us in so many ways, and I feel like you've blessed us that we got to know Ed. And we were so thankful that of the impact that he made on all of our lives, the impact that he made on this community, on this particular program. We're thankful for the example that he set. He is certainly was your presence among us and showed us what love was and what service was. And we thank you for that. Thank you for each of these people here this morning that they're out here following in his footsteps. Help us to continue to do that with the heart of service, and just help us to make Palos Heights just even more beautiful. And we thank you for everything today. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Vince Petrosius, and wanted to say there's a great turnout. You know, Denise said, well, maybe we'll get 4 or 5 people, and I see a few more than that here. I am a resident of Palos Heights. I live in Navajo. I've lived there for over 35 years. So a lot of the faces here are familiar, and I just want to mention Ed. Again, Ed was a colleague. We worked on some projects together, went to the same church, and played in the same bocce ball league for years. So I knew Ed, and he was just a great guy, And everything that the alderman had said about him is, I don't know if it's all true, but, you know, it can't go to his head anymore. So anyway, again, this is coming back to this. I was on the Economic Development Committee many years ago with Jeff Prestanario, and with the passing of Ed, you know, I thought it would be not helpful, but I guess they don't throw away phone numbers here in the city. So Denise called me up and said, "Could you give us a hand?" And I said, "Sure, you know, I'd be happy to," and so that's why I'm here today. And it is a pandemic year, and things are not perfect. Because we're missing a few flowers that are in the pots. And I didn't listen to my own advice, and I tried to sneak some flowers in before May 15th. And they sort of got nipped the other day. So I went looking the other day to find some flowers, and found them, and they should have been here today, but they're not. So we're going to come and do the best we can today, and we're going to come here Monday, and we'll just replenish and fix it. We'll get pretty close. Okay, so what we're doing here is we have 3 tiers on the pots, and we're going to cut them up into slicing the pie. Each section of the pie is going to have a sweet potato foliage that's going to drape over. It's going to have lobularia, which is going to flower in white or lavender, and that's going to drape over. And we're going to have wave petunias. That will drape over. There's our petunias, okay? The next level is going to be Dusty Miller. That's going to grow to 12 to 18 inches. Blue Salvia, and that'll be about 18 inches. And there's supposed to be some yellow marigolds that are not here today, but will be supplemented in each one of the pots. And then on top we have some mango cannas and some rubrum grass. And that'll give us our height, 2 to 4 feet, okay? Temporarily we put a little bird cage on there, just to give it a little bit of height until the rest of the flowers decide to grow and catch up with the rest. Okay, so we're gonna do that for now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alderman Jeff Key, and we're in the Palos Heights pool parking lot this morning. We're not here to swim, though. We are surrounded by these big pots that are going to eventually go all through the city of Palos Heights, and part of the beautification effort that we have going. With me this morning are Denise Hiker and Vince Petrosius, who are co-chair of a program we call Adopt a Pot. And so they have put together a lot of the workers and the plants and got us all organized for the day. And so I just wanted to introduce them to you and ask them a couple questions about Adopt a Pot. It was interesting because when Denise got here this morning, she showed me a folder from 20 years ago that showed all the people that were involved in the program and how it got started in a very small way, and it's kind of blossomed, pun intended, blossomed into something very big and great. And we're also have a dozen people here helping us this morning doing the actual planting. But just one word, we're dedicating our workday today to Ed Dombrowski. Ed was really the backbone of the whole program. he organized all the pots and got the plantings and showed us how to plant each one. He was such a wonderful guy, and his wife is here this morning to help us plant, and so we're happy about that. The workers are still in kind of sad today that he's not with us, but we're happy to be back because we weren't able to do this last year because of the pandemic, and so we're all happy to be back. And so, Denise, just let me ask you. So I think you've been doing this for the whole time we've been doing the program, but tell us a little bit about how this all started and how you got involved.
Started pretty much 20 years ago, and we started with the Economic Development Committee, and one of the divisions of economic development was beautification. We feel that beautifying the city not only made the city more pleasurable for residents, but for people that visit, businesses, everyone. So we tried to come up with ideas, and one of the ideas between Jeff Prestanario, as you mentioned, and Gene Knapp was to plant around the trees on Harlem Avenue. I think we had about 40 trees on Harlem Avenue. So we started getting people, volunteers, it's all volunteer. It was called Adopt a Tree back then. This is the little application for Adopt a Tree. And we started, people brought their own plants, you know, volunteered their time and their plants and planted on Harlem Avenue. Public Works closed down the Harlem Avenue. It was really, really, really amazing, all these people that came out. Just as amazing as all the people that came out today. And this is 20 years later, this is what it's turned into. Volunteers are very, very important, and we really appreciate having all these people out. And obviously today, what it is Adopt a Pot. And we do have sponsors for Adopt a Pot, businesses, individuals, a number of families, and that is, we appreciate. We couldn't do this without sponsors either because it's a self-funding program. Whatever monies we bring in for the sponsors, that goes right back into paying for the plants.
Hey, and Vince, gardening is not my forte in life. And so I am just amazed. These flower pots, when they fully bloom, are just gorgeous. And I mean, they're at the entrances to the subdivisions. They're all through the business district. They're at Lake Catherine, the rec center, all through town. But how do you go about picking? Like, what's the strategy behind picking the flowers and stuff that you have in the pot?
What we try to do is we look at the pot, the size of the pot, of course, and we want to try to hit 3 different areas. All right, we want one specific flower or 2 to drape down, and in this case, we have some sweet potato foliage that's going to drape down. We have some lobelia that will drape down, and then we'll have some wave petunias that will drape and spill over the pot. Okay, the middle range in this specific planting is going to be a blue salvia, and that's going to grow 16, 18 inches. Along with that, we have some Dusty Miller, which will grow about in that range, and there's also going to be some yellow giant marigolds, and that will grow in the mid-range, 12 to 18 inches. And then our top range is going to be a rubrum grass or a mango canna lily, and that'll grow 24, 30, 36 inches, depending on how successful the planting has been. So that's sort of how we try to attack it. It's just like, you know, in a basic design, you want to cover all the areas and make sure that you have a pot that, and again, that fills out real nice. It doesn't look like much for the first few weeks, just because the plants are just not mature enough to get that look. But it'll fill out. By the middle of June, you'll start to see a lot of progress, and you'll have a nice full-looking pot. And hopefully weather will be with us, and we can get it watered by nature instead of sending out our crews to go bring those out. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Here, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but this is a picture of how the pots look fully bloomed. And so, Denise, we do have a bunch of volunteers today. How do we go about getting all these people here today?
Pretty similar to how we get sponsors. We publish, this is our little form here, Adopt a Pot form, and we publish that in the brochure for the city, on the city's website, on the recreation bulletin board, and the city's bulletin out in front of the City Hall. I've been on some of the local newspapers. We put a little blurb in there as well, and word of mouth. And then, of course, the whole beautification committee, who this is under, beautification committee members. We have currently 12 members, and we will always look for more if anyone is interested.
And then finally, right behind Denise on the ground are all the different nameplates that are going to go into the pots of the people and the businesses and the subdivisions that have sponsored our pots. And so it's individual families and, like I said, businesses and stuff. And you can participate in that from home. If your family would like to sponsor a pot, if you have a business that you would like to sponsor or a subdivision, Denise, what would be the best way for them to contact?
You just go on the website and look under beautification committee. Our adaptive pot form is there. There's forms at City Hall, or they can call me. If you go on the website and you can't download a copy, you could just call me and I can help you out with that.
And then if you just call City Hall, they can get you in touch. And I think they have some forms right at the front desk of City Hall as well. So that pretty much says it all about Adopt a Pot. And hopefully maybe some of you sitting at home watching this will be able to join us next year. And thank you for joining us.